Since the beginning of card gamery, designers have struggled to find a way to make cards feel special. For years, the only indication that any individual Magic card was rarer than any other was a write-up in a magazine or its location in a pack. Pokemon had some early success with holo foil and a different stamp, but the gold standard for making special cards feel special was Yu-Gi-Oh! During my entire Magic playing career, commons, uncommons, rares, and later mythics were only designated by a different color logo in the corner of the card. During that same period, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was experimenting with rares, supers, ultras, secrets, ultra secrets, secret ultras, prismatic secrets, ghosts, ultimates, and oh god, the dual terminal! These days, any TCG worth its salt, from Pokemon to Elestrals, has a half dozen inscrutable premium rarities in various states of holography and full art. But in my mind, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been the pioneer of seeing what new ridiculous rarity designation they can cram onto cardboard. That said, not every rarity debuted by Konami has been well received. Off the top of my head, Battle Pack Shatterfoil, the Duelist League Color Rares, and the Noble Knight Platinum were controversial, to say the least. Among the low IQ rubes in the community, I've always loved my gross-ass Veilers. It turns out if you're throwing shit at a wall to see what sticks, sometimes you're gonna end up with shit. These days, things have simplified down to normals, supers, ultras, and secrets, with the occasional special super chocolatey rare plus fan favorites in side sets or OTS packs. But the memory of rarities long forgotten lingers. Which is why today, we are going to talk about the worst rarity of all time. One of Yu-Gi-Oh's best qualities is its aggressive reprint policy. If cards are out of your price range, you can expect just a couple of months after print, you'll be face to face with that $100 piece of cardboard at a reasonable price point. One of the mechanisms Konami employs to get these cards into circulation is their occasional reprint sets. After a few years of standard reprint packs, Konami decided they wanted to do something new. The Gold Series pack was born. This set included about a dozen cards at a new rarity, Gold Rare. The edges were flecked with gold and a yellow tint extended to the art and borders. The cards at this rarity were some of Yu-Gi-Oh's most iconic: Cyber Dragon, Blue Eyes Ultimate, Mirror Force, and most expensive, Crush Card Virus. Generally, these were decently received. Players enjoyed the availability of these cards, even if the actual foiling was a little more hit or miss. The Gold Series rarity became a mainstay of reprint sets, with slight adjustments made in 2009, 3, and for Pyramids Edition. Then came Gold Series Haunted Mine. This set included not only traditional gold rares, but Ghost Golds, a send-up of the existing extremely chase Ghost rarity. These were not well received. Players felt on the whole it cheapened existing Ghost rares, and they did look a little worse for wear. The Ghost Rare Gores from this set became a running joke among players. It was so shiny you could check for it reflected on your opponent's shirt before you attacked. After the poor reception of their first premium gold rarity, Konami changed course and released the premium gold sets with a new rarity, Gold Secret. These were kind of hard to look at, but were generally accepted. That said, I do remember players at my locals referring to Cosmo decks, which played the cheapo gold rare monsters, as Yellow Brick Road, a kind of slur for players who bought the Wizard of Oz inspired strategy after the reprint. Yu-Gi-Oh players used to be so imaginative. Finally, we've come to our rarity at issue. After players' appetites had been whet from gold secrets, Konami was eager to up the ante. In Maximum Gold, and in the following gold set, Maximum Gold El Dorado, they released a rarity so heinous, so hideous, I'd be hard-pressed to find a single one of its fans. The Premium Gold Rare. Look at this fucking thing. The Premium Gold Rare was only ever available for cards in the aforementioned reprint sets, and it's not hard to see why. Only about 100 total cards ever got this treatment. PGR creates a raised, embossed border on the lettering of the card, the attribute, the star line, the borders, and the silhouette of the monster in frame. They're thick to the touch. Depending on how well your sleeves fit, you kinda have to really want to get them in there. This is a weird decision, especially since similarly thick cards from hobby leagues live in this state of quasi-legality, given their ability to be found in a deck. And that's to say nothing of the print errors. During COVID, the quality control of every card manufacturer took a nosedive, and this extremely specific printing process was really easy to fuck up. Misprints stopped being sought after and started being the norm, with everything from quadruple embossing to the gold just flaking off the edges of the card on the regular. After Maximum Gold El Dorado, the rarity was never seen again. My conspiratorial belief is that it was fixed into the raised art foils from the Rarity collection sets. So that's that then. A short-lived, poorly received rarity that Konami's since improved on. Video over, right? Well, not exactly. Remember how I said 100 cards total got this treatment? That's not a lot, but it is enough. Enough to build a tournament-legal 40-card deck, 15-card side, and 15-card extra deck to bring to locals. And I've got it. right here. When it comes to what to play in this strategy, we do have a bit of an immediate problem. Priority was given to hand traps, generic extra deck tools, and staple back row like Solemn Judgment, Torrential Tribute, and Book of Moon. But there are actually very few linear game plans available at this rarity. Dragon Maid has all the little monsters, but none of the dragon forms. Dinosaur has Overraptor and Misk, but no pills and no babies. So ultimately, I went with Invoked Eldritch. Now, this list isn't perfect, far from it. Alistair and Invocation are in the set, as is Mechaba, but without a link one, our opponent has to do a little of the work. Eldritch has a number of powerful cards available, but no Sanguine, no White, and no Hawkero. We're playing Black Eldlixir and Conch, and nothing else. After receiving about 40 packages from sellers I have to imagine were a little confused, I was ready. And I lost almost all my games. Yeah, who would have thought a deck that's functionally a bad brew from 2020 missing half its cards wouldn't convert? Although almost isn't all. Check this out. To roleplay effectively, I've purchased penny sleeves that just barely fit these high embossed cards, and I'm using prismatic God Box outers for my extra deck, another one of Konami's less inspired ideas. Those specifically are disgusting after years of wear and tear, which I think just adds to the charm of this strategy. My opponent wins the die roll and selects to go second. I'm thrilled to hear they are on Ryujei. Now this deck is a double threat. It's both bricky and wants to blind second, wielding powerful going second tools against decks that will set up a powerful board. I'm never going to do that, meaning my opponent's attempts to simplify the game state play perfectly into my exceptionally simple game plan. They're going to go for the field spell here, and though I don't love it, I'm going to fire off this Solemn Judgment. I'm already down to 4. My opponent's going to go for a copy of Foolos, but the joke's on them. I really don't intend to do anything this turn anyway. You can see an Invocation with no partner. The Hakva at least is a play, so our opponent is going to go for the Hakva, and that is going to send a Worm Winds from deck. Worm Winds isn't a card that I'm too concerned about, and hopefully I'll find something that actually represents a sort of linear game plan off the top. It is importantly a card on my opponent's side of the field, so I can deploy the Eldritch that is in my hand to send it to the graveyard and maybe get a little bit of advantage on the way to doing 35 to their face. We're going to go for this copy of Cursed Eldland, send a Conquistador, then activate the Eldritch. I fumble with it a little bit here, setting an Invocation first in order to most effectively preserve the actually good cards in my deck. While frequently you want to send this Cursed Eldland to the graveyard, it's also my only way of consistently getting to Conquistador without waiting like 3 or 4 turns on a Black Eldritch. Opponent draws for turn, and it's another stinker. God, I am very lucky to be playing against this strategy. They're going to cut the deck, and then afterwards just totally pass. Look at that Dark Ruler no more, a gold rare itself. Dino Domains comes down, but doesn't do anything from this position. I elect to just go ahead and get another Eldritch onto the field. We're going to use the Black Eldritch, and you can see on this card, it's got a really bad foiling pattern. The bottom of this gold rare is extended way past where it should be, but that's just part of the charm of these cards. We'll go for the Eldritch and then set a Conquistador, use the Cursed Eldland to get our last copy of Conquistador into rotation, set that, and then get in for 25, because unfortunately, Black Eldritch summons in defense. Our opponent's going to go for the Pendulum Ritual Monster. We will just ash that on activation, and they will scoop it up as we go to Game 2. Look at that grip. I'm feeling pretty confident for Game 2. That's because this deck has a fantastic time going second. All of the powerful hand traps available out of the board should make this easy until my opponent says first. So I am going to have to play with my back a little bit against the wall here. We did draw Extravagance, which is one of the very best cards going first. We've drawn a couple of cards here. Then we'll deploy an Alistair the Invoker. Now, usually this is full combo. You link off the Alistair for either an Artemis or an Salamand Great Almirage into a Secure Gardna. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those cards. So we're going to have to fire off the Invocation, setting an Eldritch to the graveyard as well. It gets the job done, and it sort of gets the Eldritch into rotation. Afterwards, we are going to be able to use the graveyard effect of the Invocation in order to cycle back the Alistair and draw ourselves a card. So let's just go ahead and make the Mechaba right now. Then afterwards, we will go for the Invocation so that we have a Monster Negate live without having to deploy any of the hand traps in our hand. You can see 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence. We also have a Ash Blossom and a Droll and Lockbird. Making sure on the Invocation and shuffling this deck was a nightmare because every individual card is gold embossed. It fell apart at the slightest touch. It would get stuck on itself all the time. Really gross stuff. Our opponent's going to begin with one of the new cards. This comes from Aelin, I believe, the new Ryujei. I'm just going to go ahead and read this real quickly to make sure that it's not doing anything too scary. Remember, our Mechaba can go up to 3,500 attack points, so one of the places in which Ryujei excels is its ability to pendulum summon out some really big, powerful guys, but they aren't going to be able to get over our Mechaba. So after I see the pendulum summon for 2, I'm actually not too beat up about it. Got a collector's rare red, by the way. I can't imagine it's actually actually worth too much more than the maximum gold rarities in my deck. We'll check them both to make sure we're not misreading anything, and then afterwards our opponent's going to go for the effect of the Ritual Pendulum. Now this effect is very good. It gets you access to Warzone, but Warzone has to be able to add in order to resolve fully. So I let this resolve, and then at point of resolution, I'm just going to go ahead and fire off a Droll and Lockbird, which should stop them for the turn. From this position, I'll be able to deploy a second Mechaba on my next turn alongside the Eldritch in order to get over the things that are currently plaguing me. My opponent thinks for a little bit. It looks like they've already got Wyrmwinds and Dino Domains, though those don't really do anything on this board state. So instead, they're just going to make Varudris. This card actually is good, and that's quite frightening to me. They're going to go to the battle phase and try and walk over the Mechaba. I will be able to contest this a little. They're going to go attack. We'll go Imperm. I don't want to lose the Alistair because it's my only really linear play here. They'll negate it, then I'll activate the Mechaba, pitching an additional card here, the Ash Blossom, to negate and banish the Varudris. Now they've got nothing on their side of the field. They're going to set a copy of Wyrmwinds and the Trap card, and then pass back turn with the Warzone in hand. Now I know I am going to have to be able to contest that Warzone, and that is easier said than done. We rip an Eldritch off the top, which is crazy. We'll go Alistair again. They are going to go ahead and activate Ryujei End, which I believe is an individual pop. Now this doesn't do anything against Alistair, and I'm really lucky that they think that it does. They're deciding if they want to use it or not. I go no, and then I'll grab the Invocation. I fire off the Invocation, and then they elect to, I believe, Ryujei End on the Alistair on the activation of Invocation. This is probably a misplay, but when I'm playing this deck, I'll take any misplay I can get. I feel like it's a sort of reparation for playing something so garbage. I explain the interaction here, and I'm like, you know that this isn't going to do what you want, right? And they're like, no, it's okay. I already committed. Go ahead and send him. And I say, okay, whatever. Alistair to the grave. Then I'll banish the Alistair alongside sending another Eldritch in order to summon out this copy of the Invoked Mechaba. That's 5k. We'll use the Invocation Shuffle, and then we can use the Eldritch Engrave to send the last remaining back row, attack for 35, 25, and 25, and somehow I walk with it 2-0. So there you have it, the first and only win for the all-gold everything deck. Honestly, I'm happy these exist. Konami's not batting 1,000 when it comes to new rarities, but at least they're at the plate. For every nasty Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1 foiling, there are a half dozen Ghost Rares, RC Rarities, and Worlds Pack Alt Arts. Plus, I can smugly insist on the worst of the worst so that everyone I play gets to roll their eyes. We're all in on the same joke. See you next time.